Hello, my name is Christina Ennis and welcome to the Mineral Resources Review podcast. Today we're sponsored by New Valley Drilling Company, powered by Gale Force Winds. I'm joined this morning by Paul Shelley. Paul is the President and CEO of Workforce Global Canada. Welcome, Paul.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Work Global Canada, I should have said.
Work Global Canada.
My apologies.
That's correct.
So Paul, let's kick it off by telling us a little bit about yourself, maybe a bit about your background.
Well, I'm from Bayvert, Newfoundland, which is exciting for the mining
It's a good
company.
place to be.
Well, that's
family reunion probably.
Yeah, it's my hometown. It's my home district. I was the member of the House of Assembly for the district for 15 years. That was a little while ago. And now I have a company called Work Global Canada, which I founded back 12 years ago. And now we are certainly growing here in the province.
Absolutely. Awesome. And what brings you to the Mineral Resources Review?
Well, first of all, as I just said, it's because of the mining interest I have. I grew up in a mining town of Bayvert, which was quite a bit of mining, especially with my time growing up in two mines operating there at the time. And then from Bayvert, I went to Labrador City where I lived for 6 years. And so I'm from mining towns basically, and that's my interest.
Awesome. So when it comes to, one of the things we talked about over the last few days with a number of guests, Caliber in particular yesterday, is that there's going to be a lot of hiring going on.
Yes.
And all sectors are experiencing labor shortages and needing to get a little bit creative to make sure that they can continue their operations or expand or do new things. How does Work Global Canada help their clients, your clients, do that?
Well, very simply, we started this company. I started the company along with my two partners, Dr. Brian Ramdatin and Wanda Cuff-Young. We started this business 12 years ago. I started it as I exited politics. One of my portfolios, besides human resources, labor, employment, tourism, but immigration. I was Minister of Immigration back in 2006, 2007, and I was the minister who actually implemented or brought in the immigration strategy for the province.
Oh, wow.
And very simply, at the time under Premier Williams, it was the idea and the vision that Newfoundland and Labrador, very simply, is the most aging population in North America per capita, not just Canada. Per capita, we are the most aging population, more baby boomers than anywhere else. So I started the company for simple mathematical reasons. At the time, I did know immigration was happening, very little in Newfoundland and Labrador.
Yes.
But any immigration that was happening through companies in Toronto, Vancouver, Montreal. And I said, why not do it here? We're going to need them.
Here.
The need is going to be here, so why not do it? So we started the company back then, a very slow start, but as the statistics showed that from 2018 on, we would be needing more and more because of our retirement age.
So we hear companies like yours talk about immigration services. What does that mean? If someone's not familiar or has never used an immigration service.
Yeah, so we're not just immigration, we're immigration and recruitment. So first of all, as far as the recruitment goes, whether it's the mining industry, skilled trades, service industry, hospitality, Newfoundland, Labrador, restaurants, we have now a network of some over 70 countries around the world where we have agencies or connections for recruiting.
Awesome.
So we're all over the world. The immigration process, we have licensed immigration consultants that do that process. So we find people, and we can, from finding an employee for somebody to bringing them here, to going through the immigration process, a work permit, on up to if they want to be a permanent resident. We can do the whole thing.
Awesome. Which for a lot of companies, taking on employees through the immigration process can be very, I want to say, overwhelming.
It is.
To kind of wrap your brain around. So reaching out to Paul and Work Global Canada, they can explain to you a little bit more how they can help you help you fill some roles.
Well, first of all, we're owned and operated right here. You can walk into our office right here.
And where's your office located?
69 Elizabeth Avenue.
Awesome.
But you can walk in there, but there's that connection locally. I'm dealing with all kinds of companies here, not some fish companies lately, some mining people we're talking to, from anywhere from the Tim Hortons to the Mary Browns to whatever sector. So we're right here. We've been in business 12 years now, so we've got a lot of experience. As a matter of fact, over 80% of our staff are former immigrants themselves who've gone through the process. So that makes it very interesting because they learn the process. And now, of course, it's picking up and it's growing because the need is going to be greater.
Absolutely.
So we do need immigration.
Now, I don't know if this is a hard question or it's just a bit of a different question. So a lot of mining activity is happening not in the metro region. So it's in rural areas.
Absolutely.
That's where the resources are. When it comes to recruitment and then the sustainability of a project,
Right.
availability of services and having a community for people to live in
Yes.
near those resources is important. Can you touch a little bit on how recruitment could be made easier if there was more sustainability perhaps in the communities across the province, or any challenges or barriers to recruiting folks to those areas that is a bit more unique than
That's a really good question.
where there's no housing, or
Yeah,
if there's
exactly.
limited service delivery.
So it was a question I answered years ago as an immigration minister, and today it's even more significant. The reality is that a lot of parts of rural Newfoundland and Labrador are more difficult for immigrants to go to for the simple reason housing, which is still bad in St. John's, of course, but it's right across the province. But it's also services, healthcare services, very important.
Right.
So when we're trying to recruit people to go to Beaver or Labrador City or anywhere in the province, then of course all of those questions are asked by the people that are coming here.
Right.
They want to know what it's all about. If you're coming from the Philippines, you got to know that the weather is different. You got to know you're going from a big city to a small town.
Right.
So we help with the cultural diversity there. So we don't just bring people here, land them at the airport, and bring them to a community and drop them off. Before they get here, we do cultural diversity, let them know what it's going to be like.
Right.
We make sure they know their employer. The employer's connected with them before they get here. So there's a lot of things you can do to mitigate some of those issues. But the bottom line, it is working. We have proven results now of communities all across Newfoundland and Labrador, where we have sent people from the Philippines, from Africa, from Mexico. And the more that they're prepared for that, and the more inviting that the people are in those communities. And Newfoundland and Labrador is known for its hospitality. And when people come into the communities that are new, then it's a big part of the onus is on the councils and the people in the community to invite them in and make sure they feel at home. So that's a big part of it.
Awesome. So where I was going with that is around our retention rate as a province of immigrants isn't awesome. However, I would venture to guess that when organizations use companies like Work Global Canada to help essentially onboard people to the province, not just to a job, that there is a higher retention rate of those folks here as well.
That's an interesting question, Christina, because when I was minister, I remember the number. Newfoundland and Labrador had less than 1% retention. We were the lowest in Canada.
Oh, wow.
PEI was next to us at 1%. We were less than 1%. That has improved.
So we've gotten much better, but
we've gotten better, but we've got a long way to go. But our company, although a private company, and the Association of New Canadians, and there's other groups throughout the province, they help with that. But we all got to get better at that as people who are living here, inviting people in. Remember, we're bringing people in on need, and we're bringing them in for a process that's proper. We do the proper legal processes with immigration consultants. So everything we do is in step. Got to remember that this industry around the world has big problems. There's scams throughout. It's one of the most scammed industries in the world.
Absolutely.
So actually, we're being sought after now by right across Canada. We do work right across Canada, by the way, because we're a legitimate Canadian company. And that's very important these days. Because as you know, I don't know if you did know, but Canada is now like 1 and 2 in rankings for people to come to, more attraction. And maybe with things that changed in the States recently, we may be number 1.
We'll see. We'll see
what happens.
Awesome. Paul, is there anything else you'd like folks to know about your services, or maybe just kind of the HR recruitment space in regards to the mining sector or other sectors?
Well, the mining sector, I believe, is going to grow. I'm very positive about that. I've been an advocate of mining for a long time. Sometimes I believe we don't get the mining industry doesn't get enough boot for what it really does and what it brings, because I saw Beaver grow, I saw Lab City grow, and Central Newfoundland, Bucklands, all those areas. Mining towns, they bring new people in, new technologies and so on. So I'm very optimistic about what's going to happen in the mining industry. Again, we have to be ready. So that's why our companies are being proactive in talking to the mining companies and saying, prepare. Because here's the most important thing. It's complicated. You can't do it on
It
your
is.
own. And we're a very specialized company now, but we work hand in hand with the companies to ensure that they're looking ahead. This is not a drive-through, I tell people.
No.
You've got to prepare. If you need miners for a year and a half from now, we start the process now to find the right people.
Finding the right people at the right time.
Right time.
For the right positions.
And done properly.
And doing it right.
Absolutely.
Love it. Awesome. Thanks so much for joining me, Paul. And stay tuned, folks, for more from the Mineral Resources Review.